I'm reading from a book called You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. It's a book by John Roger, who's an American, and Peter McWilliams, who's an Australian. And he might be an American by now, but he was an Australian. They wrote a whole series of books. John Roger's written, I don't know, hundreds. This series of You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought, and Do It, and Wealth 101, and Life 101, they're all bestsellers. And they're all right on top of, they've been on top of the best-selling list in New York for a long time. This is one of the best books that I've ever read, and it's about 200 or 300 ways of moving forward in your life, no matter what the situation is. It's a very practical book. Have a thumb through them. They're over there, and you can get them in bookshops. They're a bit cheaper here, but and it's got this section on the light on it. Now, let me read it to you. The concept of light as a gift from some place greater to humankind seems to be ageless and universal. It spans time, geography, and belief. It's central to almost every religion and spiritual practice. In approximate historical order, let's look at how light is viewed by the major religions of the world today. Hinduism, one of the oldest religions in the world, has over 500 million adherents. It was founded around 1500 BC. One of its sacred texts says, "Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality." Light is equated both with the reality and immortality. Enlightenment is a Hindu's highest goal. Judaism was founded around 1300 BC. There are approximately 17 million Jews in the world today, almost half of them in North America. Jewish scripture is abundant with references to the light. And here's one. "In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." The Old Testament of the Bible, the sacred text as well as the story of the chosen people, includes some of the most beautiful references to light ever written. "And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them the light. Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? Arise, shine, for the light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee." And there are more. Buddhism, founded by Gautama Buddha around 525 BC, about 250 million followers in the world today. Buddha is often referred to as the light of Asia. Enlightenment, in fact, is what transformed and darkened Siddhartha Gautama into Buddha, the enlightened one. Christianity, formed in the year 0 by Jesus the Christ. Actually, it was formed by his followers after his death. In fact, I just add there, I believe that personally that religion is the politics of spirituality. Dwell on that for a moment. That's my statement anyway. The politics of spirituality. The main variations of Christianity have about 1 billion followers in the world. Jesus said of himself, "I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life." He told his followers, "Yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you." And there are many more. Islam, founded by the Prophet Muhammad in 622 AD, has about 500 million followers. The sacred text of Islam is the Quran. This passage from the Quran leaves little doubt as to the Islamic belief about the light. God is the light of the heavens and of the earth. His light is like a niche in which is a lamp encased in glass. The glass, as it were, a glistening star. From a blessed tree it is lighted, the olive neither from the east nor of the west, whose oil would well nigh shine out, even though fire touched it not. It is the light upon light. God guideth whom he will to his light, and the God setteth forth parables to men. The Native Americans in both North and South America had many religions, but most have a common thread of the Great Spirit, Mother Earth, and the various colors of light. Here's a North American Indian song, illustrates light. May the warp be the white light of the morning. May the weft be the red light of the evening. May the fringes be the falling rain. May the border be the standing rainbow. Thus weave for us a garment of brightness. And there are more. If all this talk about God and light isn't quite up your avenue, how about ancient philosophers? The Greeks liked light. Pindar wrote, "Creatures of a man, what is a man? What is he not? Mankind is the dream of a shadow. But what is a God-given brightness comes? But when a God-given brightness comes, a radiant light rests on men, the gentle light." The Romans were fond of light too. On a dark theme, I traced verses full of light. Touching all the muses' charm, wrote Lucretius. Not happy about Greeks and Romans and pagans, how about poets? Dante in the early 1300s declared that Beatrice shall be a light between truth and intellect. 350 years later, Henry Vaughan calmly informed us, "I saw eternity the other night, like a great ring of pure and endless light, all calm as it was bright, and around beneath it, time in hours, days and years, driven by the spheres, like a vast shadow moved, in which the world and all her train were hurled." And Wordsworth, and Lord Byron, and Emily Dickinson, and Robert Burns. Enough of poets, what about artists? All the artists, there's many of them. Many, many references to light. And one of the reasons that we work with, or that I work with light, and I have it in the meditations, is that the white light, the dazzling white light, which is like the rays of a sun. In other words, it's sort of like colorless, but it's white light. That is the light that is one of the most spiritual, and it can be used for protection. It can be used for your own personal protection. It can be used for a lot of other things, and we'll have a little bit of fun with it afterwards and have a look at how we can actually use it to get us a parking place. Right. Anything else, and lots of other things too.